Hello everyone, I am Mayur Ingre, Assistant Professor, Department of Microbiology, Bajaj College of Science. I welcome you all in this video lecture. This video lecture is for BSc final year students, that is, students from semester 5 Microbiology. And today in this video lecture, I will start the unit number 2, that is Infectious Microbiology and Normal Flora. So, in this today's video lecture, our topic of discussion is pathogenicity and virulence. These are the contents: introduction, concept of pathogenicity, virulence, exaltation, and attenuation. So let's begin with introduction. In biology, the term pathogen is a microorganism that is able to cause a disease in plants, animal, or insects. We know that the microbes, they are ubiquitous in nature. There are many microorganisms who are beneficial to the human beings, while some microorganisms are also harmful to the human beings. So the pathogen, it belongs to the harmful category of the microorganism. Is anything that is able to cause a disease in plant, animal, or insects. Now, what is pathogenicity and virulence? Both the terms, pathogenicity and virulence, they refer to the ability of the microorganism to produce disease or tissue injury. Both the terms, they are not clearly defined in their relevance to microorganisms, and therefore they are sometimes even used synonymously. Therefore, it is important to make a fine distinction between them. So let's see what are the differences between pathogenicity and virulence. Pathogenicity, it is the ability of the microorganism to produce the disease. Pathogenicity is the quality or a state of being pathogenic, or the potential ability of a microbial species to produce the disease. This ability to cause a disease, it depends on the genetic makeup of the pathogen. And pathogenicity, it is also the outcome of host pathogen interactions. Pathogenesis is a qualitative term. It means that we cannot measure the pathogenicity of a particular microorganism. That's why it is said that pathogenesis is a qualitative term. Now, virulence. Virulence, this term, it means it is the degree of pathogenicity or the intensity of the pathogenicity caused by the organism. This virulence term is applied to the same property of disease causing ability in a strain of microorganism. Remember that when we use the term pathogenicity, it implies to the microbial species, but this term virulence, it is applied to the microbial strain. We know that the microorganisms, they are classified in the genus level, species level, and in the strain level. So within one genus there are number of species, and within one species there are number of strain. So strain of microorganism, it is a group of species. So this term virulence is applied to the strain of microorganisms. Virulence of a pathogen can be quantified. It means that the virulence is a quantitative term, as opposed to pathogenicity, where pathogenicity, it is a qualitative term. So it means that we can measure the virulence of a particular strain in the laboratory. The virulence of a strain is not constant. It means that in a particular strain of pathogen, the virulence can be increased or virulence can be decreased. Now, the extent of the virulence is correlated with the ability of the pathogen to multiply within the host, and it may be affected by other factors. That's why this virulence, it is a conditional phenomenon. it depends on other factors. It depends on the factors within the pathogen. It also depends on the factors within the host. For example, we know that the Salmonella typhi, the species of Salmonella typhi is referred as pathogenic because it causes the disease called as typhoid. But this pathogenic species may contain several strains that may show the differences in their pathogenicity. Some strain may be less virulent, some may be moderately virulent, while others may be highly virulent. So here, Salmonella typhi in the species level, it can be referred as pathogenic. But when it comes to strain of the Salmonella typhi, now the virulence concept will be changed. Some strains may be highly virulent, some may be moderately virulent, while others may be non-virulent. So in summary, an organism, it can be defined as being pathogenic and depending upon condition may exhibit different level of virulence. Now variation in the virulence. So as I already said, the virulation of the strain is not constant. So there can be a variation in the virulence of the pathogenic strain. So virulence, it varies among different microbial species. Virulence may be increased or decreased by several methods, or it may occur spontaneously. Now what are the methods to increase or decrease the virulence of the pathogen? So we will discuss here. The first method, that is exaltation. Exaltation is a process in which there is enhancement or increase in the property of virulence occurs. So increase in the property of virulence is known as exaltation. The virulence of pathogen, it can be increased by animal passage. So animals are used to increase the virulence of the particular pathogen. So in this animal passage method, there is a serial transfer of pathogen through susceptible animal to infection by that pathogen. So in this process, as one animal becomes diseased, organisms released from that animal are passed to a healthy animal, which then also gets sick. If the sequence of animal passes is repeated 2 or 3 times, each newly infected animal suffers a more serious disease than the previous one. So what happens here? After each repetition, the virulence of the pathogen will be increased or enhanced. Therefore, it is referred as exaltation. Now the next method is attenuation. As opposed to exaltation, attenuation method is used to decrease or to reduce the virulence of a pathogen. So decrease or reduction of virulence is known as attenuation. It is an important step in the production of various vaccines in use today. We know that the vaccines, they are immunogenic preparations lacking pathogenicity but having antigenicity. So while making the vaccines, this concept is used, that is attenuation, where pathogenicity will be decreased. Now methods of attenuation. Attenuation is brought out by growing the pathogen in certain unfavorable circumstances. Several methods are available for attenuation. In all the methods, the pathogen will be subjected or will be forced to grow in unfavorable circumstances, so that in these unfavorable circumstances, pathogen will lose its pathogenicity. It may lose some essential genes or essential virulence factors that are required for pathogenesis. So there are number of methods of attenuation are there. The first method is passing the organism through a less susceptible host. This method is also called as the transposal of virulence. In this method, a pathogen is passed from normal host to a new less susceptible host. So pathogen will be passed sequentially through many individuals of the new host. The new host which is less susceptible. For example, when virulent strain of Bacillus anthracis is passed through guinea pig or rat, attenuation of the organism occurs. And when it is inoculated again to its highly susceptible host like cattle, it may not kill them. We know that Bacillus anthracis cause the disease in the cattle. So here cattle is the natural host for Bacillus anthracis, and cattle they are highly susceptible to the Bacillus anthracis. But when we pass the Bacillus anthracis through guinea pig or rat, who are not the natural host for this pathogen, then it results into the attenuation of the Bacillus anthracis. It results into the reduction in the pathogenicity of this pathogen because we are forcing the organism through a less susceptible host. The second method is the subculturing the organism in artificial media outside the animal body. In this method, the repeated subculturing on laboratory media for the pathogen takes place. We know that the disease causing organism, that is pathogen, they can infect the host, either humans or animals. So the humans or animals, they are the natural host for that pathogen. But when we force these pathogens to grow in a laboratory media, that is on an artificial media, this will result into the attenuation of that pathogen because the conditions here they are different. Within the host, the environment, the condition is different. Within the host, the pathogen can execute its virulence factors. It can establish an infection there. But within the artificial media, some contents will be missing. It will not support the infection or the pathogenesis properties of the organism. For example, the Salmonella typhi, the causative agent of typhoid, or S. pneumonia, are cultivated on bacteriological media for several days. So, their in vitro cultivation on the artificial media will takes place. Then, after their cultivation, they get attenuated, and the reason is due to the loss of surface antigens. So, some proteins, some antigens, they are essential for the pathogen to cause a disease. But on artificial media, due to their repeated subculturing, there is a probability that their surface antigens will be lost, and as a result, it will result in a pathogenicity. Then the next step for attenuation is growing the organism at high temperature. We know that temperature is a crucial factor for the growth of microorganisms. Every microorganism have its optimum temperature range where it grows better. So when Bacillus anthracis is grown at temperature of 42 degrees Celsius instead of 37 degrees Celsius, it gets attenuated. The optimum temperature for Bacillus anthracis is 37 degrees Celsius. But if we subject this organism to grow on 42 degrees Celsius, it will result into the loss of some important antigens, some important proteins that are responsible for pathogenesis, because its optimum temperature is 37 degrees Celsius. And we know that what happens when temperature is increased from optimum level to high level. It results into the denaturation of proteins. It results into the loss of 3D conformation of proteins. So here also Bacillus anthracis will lose some essential antigens, some essential proteins, some essential virulence factors that are required for the pathogenesis and virulence. So the anthrax vaccine made by Louis Pasteur was prepared in this manner. That is, is subject the Bacillus anthracis to grow at higher temperature. Growing the organism in presence of an inhibitory substance. So this is also one of the important method for attenuation, and in this method the microorganism will be grown in presence of a substance who can inhibit the growth of that microorganism. For example, the famous vaccine, that is BCG vaccine, is prepared in this manner. And while preparing the BCG vaccines, the Calmat and Guerin, the two scientists who discovered this BCG vaccine, they force bovine strain of Mycobacterium tuberculosis to grow in a media containing high concentration of bile salts. These bile salts, when present in high concentration, they are inhibitory to this bovine strain of Mycobacterium tuberculosis. They inhibit the growth of this Mycobacterium tuberculosis. So after several continuous repeated subculturing in this bile salt medium, this Mycobacterium tuberculosis becomes very less virulent. It loses some of the essential virulence factors during this subculturing. The next method is desiccation, or it is also called as drying. So by applying the drying method, it can also result into the attenuation of the pathogen. So attenuation of fixed rabies virus, it is also carried out by Louis Pasteur. So he carried out this attenuation by drying the spinal cord of the infected animal. So we know that the rabies, it is a dangerous virus. So the Louis Pasteur, he took the infected spinal cord of the animal who was infected by the rabies virus, and he subject that spinal cord for drying. So drying results into the inactivation of that virus. It means that the pathogenicity of that virus becomes lost while the antigenicity remains there. Now the next step is the prolonged storage at low temperature. So this is very common method. We also preserve the microorganisms by storing them at low temperature. So this method is also used for attenuation. So here, by using this method, viruses can lose their virulence when stored at temperature less than 0 degree Celsius, because we know that at low temperature it results into the stop of metabolic activities of the microorganism. So due to stop of metabolic activity, due to stop of enzymatic activities, the essential factors of virulence cannot be synthesized, or it can be inactivated. For example, the vaccinia virus is attenuated by using this method. Now the next point is measurement of virulence. As we already discussed in the initial slides, that virulence is a quantitative term. It means that a virulence of the pathogen can be measured inside the laboratory. So in order to be a successful pathogen, in order to be a highly virulent, the adequate number of bacteria should gain entry inside the host. A single bacterium, even though highly virulent, may not be able to establish the infection in the healthy body. So sufficient dose of bacteria should gain entry inside the host. Virulence of a strain, it can be measured by using susceptible laboratory animals like mouse, rabbit, guinea pig, etc. So inside the laboratory, it is possible to measure the virulence. So there are several terms that are associated with the virulence. That is how we measure the virulence, and these terms, they are very useful in the measurement of virulence. So we will discuss this term one by one. The first term is the MID, that is minimum infectious dose. Minimum number of microorganisms required to produce a demonstrable infection in a given host under standard condition is known as minimum infectious dose. So I repeat, Minimum infectious dose is minimum number of microorganisms required to produce a demonstrable infection in a given host under standard laboratory conditions. This is called as MID. The second term involved in measurement of virulence is the infectious dose for 50% of host, that is ID50. It is referred as ID50, infectious dose for 50% of host. It is the minimum number of pathogenic cells required to cause active infection in 50% of inoculated animals under standard laboratory conditions. So in this method, the pathogenic cells will be inoculated into the experimental animal, and if there is infection occurs in 50% of these inoculated animals, then it will be regarded as the ID50, infectious dose for 50% of the host. That dose will be referred as ID50. For example, ID50 of Vibrio cholera is 10 raised to the power 8 cells. Means if we inoculate the 10 raised to the power 8 cells of Vibrio cholera in animal, then it will cause infection in 50% of the laboratory animals. This is called as ID50. Then MLD, minimum lethal dose. It is defined as the minimum number of microorganisms or minimum micrograms of toxin required to kill a given host, that is laboratory animal, under standard conditions. Remember that while measuring the virulence, we are not only considering the pathogenic cell, but sometimes we have to consider toxins also, because some microorganisms exert their pathogenic effects by producing the toxin. So MLD, it is the minimum number of microbial cells or minimum micrograms of toxin required to kill a given host is called as MLD. The next term is LD50, minimum lethal dose. It is defined as minimum number of microorganisms or minimum micrograms of toxin required to kill 50% of the infected animals under standard laboratory conditions. So this is called as minimum lethal dose. Thank you.